What's happening, tabletop gamers? My name is LeunameGames and welcome back to LeunameGames Unboxes. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Alubari, A Nice Cup of Tea by Tony Boydell and published by Studio H. Let's go ahead and have a look at the back here and see what this is about. 1856. The tea estate is inaugurated in the Darjeeling area. Quickly enough, more than 80 others will follow. In this refined and enduring game, 1 to 5 players will relive this major moment for the tea industry. Through strategic placement of their workers, players can optimize their actions to successfully lay down the tracks to victory. So this is a game about building the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, one of the iconic railways that helped improve the tea industry, apparently. Interesting theme. Don't know a whole lot about this setting, but I am genuinely excited to hear it because I've never seen a game about tea before. So with all that said, let's have a look and see what does Alubari, A Nice Cup of Tea, have to offer us. The game comes with a fairly large board, large enough that I can't exactly fit the entire thing into frame here, so I'll move it around so that you can actually see everything. But the board has quite a bit that's going on here. There is a large track that represents the Himalayan Railway all the way to Darjeeling, with various stops along the way, which I am assuming are going to give you an opportunity to gain various resources along the route as you build the railway. At the top of the board, there is a series of spots here, and I'm assuming these are going to represent where you are going to actually place your workers, considering there are a series of actions that are associated with these areas. There's also a section for the various resources in the game, and I'm assuming that's where the available resources are going to be. Down on the bottom here, there is a series of sections here, and I'm assuming based on this says Alubari Tea Estate, so I'm assuming these are where all the various estates that are going to be available for use are going to be placed. There's also a section here called Sigillary Town. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I'm assuming this is where you're actually going to start the game. There's also a little wheel here, and I'm assuming this is going to be a little bonus area to get stuff. And I'm assuming it's going to revolve around the white cubes, which I'll get to in a second. Over on the right side here, there is another track for cards. I'm assuming this is going to be where you're going to get like requests or maybe like orders for tea or something like that. Because considering this is like a game about developing tea, so you're going to need a spot for tea requests. Here is a little weather track here, which basically will tell you what the weather is going to be throughout the game, and various effects that are going to happen depending on what the weather is. And then on the bottom right hand corner here looks like a kind of development track or advancement track, because this looks like tracks for things like laying tracks down, digging things maybe like digging way for the railway or something like that, and harvesting tea. And I'm assuming that the further you go on these tracks, the more efficient you're going to be in each task. The game comes with a set of 8 estate cards. They are double-sided, which is nice, and they have different denominations of the shovels, and I'm assuming that's like a point marker on each of these sides, which is very nice. That means there's going to be some replay value here, and I'm assuming that you're using these shovels to basically dig out the estates and get them ready to grow tea. Would explain why you are showing the 9 here. That's like spending 9 shovels to get like 7 points, or 5 shovels to get 3, that type of thing. And I do appreciate the fact that they decided to double-side the cards. That means there should be quite a bit of replay value there. There is a stack of what they call contract cards, and basically what they do is that they have a little request down on the bottom here, where if you can get a certain amount of whatever it shows there, you'll be able to get the points for it. And I'm assuming this up here is basically meant to be like a special action that you can do whenever you take a certain action that's listed up here. You can also get a bonus for it. And I will say the symbology on the contract cards is very easy to see, which is nice. You shouldn't have any issues there. The symbology up here is very easy to understand. It's easy to see the various letters, and the text is very easy to read. Also, on the back of these is what is the weather. That's with relation to the track up here. And basically there is a whole bunch of these on the back of these cards that basically mark what the weather is going to be, whether it's cloudy, rainy, or sunny. There's an extra set of action cards that come with the game, and apparently these are going to be used depending on the number of players. You can see up here, here is a number range, and these are basically for if you have a certain amount of players, you'll use these actions rather than the ones listed on the board. As you can see also, there is a numbers listed on the board actions as well. So basically these are meant to act as replacements for the ones on the board if you are playing with a certain amount of players. There are 8 of what they like to call equipment cards, and they can be identified pretty easily because they have this train on the back of them. And basically what these are is just various things that can give you special abilities whenever you do certain things. They also give you a certain amount of bonus points at the end of the game, as well as having a certain cost up in the top left. And it's very easy to see, as well as the text on the bottom here. Thankfully that's also very easy to see. They also have something here in the bottom right involving a worker, which I'm not entirely certain what that is. Maybe it's a way to get an extra worker or something. That I'm not entirely certain of, but I will say it is very to see. It's very easy to read the symbology of these, so that is very nice. There are 5 sets of ownership markers that come with the game, 1 for 5 colors, and these are going to represent the player's ownership markers for various things on the board. I'm assuming it's going to be related to things like the little spots up here, or maybe for the tea estates there. And since there are ownership markers, there are also 3 workers for each of the 5 players. They are coming in the pretty standard denominations: red, yellow, green, and blue, and purple. Although I will say I really like the way that these meeples are made. They didn't go with these standard, or just there's a human-shaped meeple that looks like they went with the guy digging, which is a really nice touch. There are 9 different discs that come with the game: the yellow, light blue, and gray, and I'm assuming these are going to represent the weather discs, and I think they're actually meant to be like placed on the board like this whenever there is a various weather condition that comes onto the board. There are a whole bunch of tokens that come with the game, and these are to represent the different resources that come with the game, with the orange representing the iron, the green representing chai, the gray representing, I think, stone, the brown is wood, and these black rectangles here representing steel bars. I will say that there really is no way to tell these apart other than their colors, so if you are colorblind, there is a chance you may have difficulty telling which of these are which. There are 3 of what they call game marker discs. Now I'm not entirely certain which these are supposed to represent. It could be that maybe they could represent, and say, maybe the weather, or maybe like the starting point at these little advancement tracks down here, but that is just a guess. There's also a really nice looking train marker here, and this is actually representing the first player marker, which is really nicely done. Slight correction here: these brown ones here are actually meant to represent rubble, because there is a set of what they call rubble discs, and this is basically representing a denomination of 5 rubble instead of 1. There's a set of blockage tiles that come with the game, one of which is meant to go on Darjeeling itself, and these are basically meant to just block off various ways to score on the board. And I will say, these are very thick tiles, so that you shouldn't have to worry about accidentally bending these for whatever reason. There's also a couple of what they call fog tokens, and I'm assuming these are also meant to go onto the board because they also have the same shape, and I think These are meant to just act as extra blockage tokens. There are 5 white cubes that come with the game, and these are basically what to represent various events that happen, which I think is what relates to the little dial over here. Basically, the various events will happen with these cubes, and they'll trigger various events that may happen. There's also a set of white discs similar to the player ones, and this is what they call game ownership markers, which I'm assuming these are going to be basically where areas with the game will be occupied, but they will not be occupied by the players. They'll just be occupied by the game. There's a whole bunch of T tokens that come with the game, and they come in denominations of 1 and 5. They also, I can't really show it to you, they're in a bag, but they are very, very thick tiles here, or tokens rather, so you shouldn't have to worry about bending them too much when you handle them, which is nice. There's also an Alubari bag that comes with the game. I'm assuming this is where you're going to stick things like the resources that come with the game. And I will say, it's a pretty nice bag. You can get your hand in there pretty easily, or at least I can get it, and I have pretty big hands. And it also seems to be very structurally stable. There are 3 cards that come with the game. 2 of these are basically like event summaries that can explain various things that will happen in the game. They are not double-sided, by the way. There are 2 separate events and to cover all the various events that can happen. And then there is an endgame scoring card that basically gives you a summary of what happens and how you score at the end. And then finally, there is a score pad that comes with the game with enough space for all 5 potential players that can keep track of their scores and the various ways to score at the end of the game. And it is a pretty thick little score pad. You got a few sheets here, and as always, if you ever run out of sheets, you can always simply scan these and be able to print them out again. So that is everything you will get if you obtain Alubari, a nice cup of tea. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to learn how to play Alubari, a nice cup of tea, or if you want to know my thoughts on it, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more tutorials, reviews, and unboxings. Thank you all as always so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.